Back around 1996, there wasn't many horror survival games going on sale in the retail stores. There was no Silent Hill or no Project Zero games at all. Resident Evil was sort of the first 3D horror game to appear on current consoles around the time on the PlayStation, Sega, Sat, and PC. This is also sort of a remake of the NES game called Sweet Home Bit with RPG elements in the game. If you're a fan of the series, the story takes place way before Resident Evil 2 and 3 appeared and when the dead walked on the earth in Raccoon City. However, the story takes place where a group of STAR members go out to find and investigate on the Bravo city that has been missing for a few days. Chris, Barry, Wesker, and Joe seek out the missing members and then get chased by a pack of flesh-eating dogs. They head towards a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Then you will find out the true horror that lurks in the mansion and find out who caused all the chaos. The gameplay. Before you start playing Resident Evil, you'll play as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. If you play as Jill, you'll have an extra item slots. But if you play as Chris, however, you'll get 6 item slots, but with some powerful guns. You'll be using the directional pad to move around and hold R1 to run. You can also use L1 to aim and X to fire and shoot. There are a few puzzles within Resident Evil, so you may need to use a walkthrough if you're really stuck. Not only you'll be shooting and avoiding zombies, you've also got other monsters on the loose, like crows, flesh-eating dogs, and giant snakes and spiders. However, you'll be moving back and forth to item boxes to store items and swapping items around, which you'll be doing quite a few times. Don't forget to mix your herbs if you'll find any to keep your health up if you get attacked or bitten by random monsters. Graphics and sound. For a horror game on the PlayStation, Capcom have done an awesome first impression on Resident Evil. Do remember, this was way back in 1996, before there were many horror games and next-gen consoles around that time. Resident Evil has a few chills and thrills running down. You may get a few nightmares, depending if you're not into horror games whatsoever. Graphics do a nice impression, almost as good as Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64. That is, if you've played it. This has a lot of blood and gore in it. If you get killed by zombies or monsters, or even when getting blasted your gun to a zombie to the head, you'll see blood splat everywhere in pixelating color. When you start a new game, the opening will appear and it'll be a black and white cinematic cutscene, and then it'll appear in color, but in a really bad way, similar to a TV reality show in the 90s. However, Resident Evil will give you a few laughs, despite it being a horror game. The voice acting is pretty cheesy and looked sort of as bad as the Street Fighter movie if you ever think about seeing it. Some of the quotes will remain memorable in a horror game, but funny as well. That was too close. You could have been a Jill sandwich. Yeah, that was from Barry. Overall, there are many ways to beat the game. It could take you up to 10 hours to finish the game. It could even take you under an hour if you know what you're doing. But if you do plan on beating the game under an hour, you'll earn the rocket launcher, which will give you infinite rockets. If there was no Resident Evil back then, I'm pretty sure Capcom still would have come up with the same idea but perhaps make the first title a little more scary for horror fans out there. It is worth the purchase if you see this in a charity shop or a trunk of a car, but I think you can also purchase this on the PlayStation Network if it's in your region area. Resident Evil gets an 8 out of 10 for me. This is Red Wolf signing out, and I'll see you next time.